Meanwhile, at the Hall of Ramblery.
Star Wars Celebration. It was in Japan, so I was not. But I have gone in the past.
And what kind of antics did you see at these occasions?
I mean, it's your typical convention. They've got the big the floor, which has all the vendors and so much stuff to see. And for Celebration specifically, they have the I call them the big O's. The big O's, which is Lego, Hasbro, and Funko.
Okay. I was thinking it was like a cereal or something.
No. Lego, Hasbro, and Funko. And so they have the big premier booths that you actually have to get a ticket to get into.
Wow.
Or you can just wait in line. Yeah. And I have not been in the Funko booth ever. It is always, because they always have an exclusive that they premiere and sell at the event. And it's usually a pretty big ticket item. And I always see people walking around with them. It's something like massive. It's in a huge box.
Yeah.
And to make myself feel better, I'm like, I wouldn't want to carry that around anyway.
Yeah, sure.
You know.
No, who would want that?
You see everybody walking around all jolly with their big old boxes. And it doesn't seem to bother them, but, you know, I wouldn't want to carry it around anyway.
Yeah. Right.
And then Lego is always, they usually you can get in there and see, they always show like new Lego sets that are coming out. And then Hasbro, who's the toy maker of record right now.
Yeah.
And they always show a lot of stuff. And a lot of times, sometimes they have some of the toy designers there. So cool. You can talk to them. So it's very cool. That's where I first encountered Geeky Tiki, but I avoided actually getting any Star Wars themed Tiki mugs because I love Tiki mugs. I love Tiki culture, but I also love Star Wars. So I'm like, who knew? I'm not going to get into that because that's going to turn into a thing.
How long did that last?
Well, so I went, and then the guy who owns Geeky Tiki, he was like, why don't you get any? And I was like, because Brandon, next thing you know, I'm going to have to like buy a shelf and I'm not going to have enough room and then I'll have to get a bigger shelf. And hey, you know what happened? Exactly that.
Well, see, that's the issue. You were talking to the owner?
Yeah.
Well, you know what he wants you to do.
I know.
He wants you to buy
he
wants you to make a shelf and buy all of them.
I did.
You did exactly what he wanted you to do.
I did so much. Yeah. But you know, and sure enough, I try to sneak them in on the shelf, you know, when my wife's not looking.
How does that go?
Sometimes I'm successful, but I'd say it's like a 10% success rate.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's like as you walk up the steps, and she's like, "What's this stormtrooper? Where'd that Yoda come from?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, And I pretend like it's been there the whole time.
Well, I get you on the whole collection thing. I think we're both sort of collectors in that regard.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's sort of amazing that our set right now isn't cluttered with a whole bunch of our junk, but it's very clean.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's actually all on the edges of the frame, though.
Yeah.
Because and we're at risk of it collapsing on top of us.
Yeah, we're completely accurate there.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Celebration.
So Celebration.
So the event itself.
They have the event, and it's like a 3-day, 4-day event, and they each day they have panels all day, but they also have the main show, and it's usually in the main auditorium or main stage, and sometimes they have side stages for overflow.
Okay. And
in previous ones, they've announced like the trailer for the new movie, or they talk about the new season of a show. And as it so happens, they did actually announce a new movie, and then they talked about a new movie we all knew about. So the new movie we all knew about, this is going to be The Mandalorian and Grogu. This is the movie that Jon Favreau directed.
Yeah.
We don't know a lot about it. Obviously, it's continuing the adventures of Mandalorian and Grogu.
Remind me again, and spoilers for those who haven't watched Mandalorian. So after, what was the third season? Was Moff Gideon on that? Was the big battle?
The big battle, all the Mandalorians.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
they had the space pirates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Which, I'm all about that.
Who doesn't love
space pirates? I mean, that's like the extra.
Yeah.
Right. Which is why that movie Treasure Planet should have been huge.
Yeah, no, not so much.
But so it ended with them kind of in their little homestead, and he was sitting on the porch.
Yeah, Grogu's
making playing,
frogs,
floating those space frogs in the air.
So where that left off, did Celebration cover What did they cover?
We get to see the appearance of a character. I saw one thing.
Okay.
And it's a character that we saw in one of the episodes. Man, I can't think of his name. I'm blanking on his name. But I don't want to spoil it anyway. But it was a character from the TV show Rebels.
Okay. Got it.
Zeb. It's Zeb.
So you just spoiled it.
I saw a picture.
Said you weren't going to...
Well, I mean, we saw him on the show, and everybody was like, oh. Yeah. So he had like a cameo.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be seeing him again.
That makes sense. Yeah, it was sort of odd that, he was just there and
brought
such
him
a
in,
large character
like,
in Rebels, and then he just didn't really do much. So, okay.
So that's
we're
one of the
gonna
movies
see
I
him.
talked
Great.
about. Yeah.
Okay.
The other movie, which was a rumor, Ryan Gosling was going to be in a Star Wars movie.
As like
Is that
10 or
real?
something?
Yeah.
You
Everybody's
think
like, what does that mean?
Right.
And Sean Levy actually came out on stage. Now,
And Sean Levy, the
Sean
director
Levy, who
of
is the Deadpool. But yeah, so this movie's called Star Wars Starfighter. And they announced it, and they didn't give a lot of detail. The only thing they did say is it's set 5 years after the rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
So we know that. So we have a place and time in the timeline because, sometimes these shows are before, they're after.
Right. Do we know where?
We don't know where.
Okay.
We don't really know the details, but we do know. I mean, there was reference to the Force. The one thing that we do know is that this is way further along in production than their normal movies that they announced. And I'm talking specifically like Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
When she announced Rogue Squadron, everybody got so excited, and they shot a little trailer.
Yeah.
And
that was the extent of it.
And that was it. Then it went away.
Yeah.
And then it came back. And then now I don't know. It seems to like come back and go.
In limbo.
Damon Lindelof had something announced. Ryan Johnson had a whole other trilogy that he was going to do. There's still discussion with the Taika Waititi movie. The surprise about this was that they're well into pre-production, and Sean Levy even said, "No, we're in production." So this thing's like getting ready to roll.
Yeah,
which is good news because, like I said, they've announced things, and people get excited, and then they go away. So this is one where it's like, okay, look, you're going to come out and you're going to announce something. You're going to bring this actor out. You're going to bring this director out. You got to really, come up with the goods.
So has there been any talk about this before?
Just a rumor. I had heard a rumor about Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie, and that's about the extent of what I heard.
Okay.
So
I'm out of touch.
There hasn't been a whole lot out there, and even that was like I don't even know where I heard that. I mean, if they do one thing, I mean, it's calling it Starfighter, it's like it does lean towards the action, and I do like one thing that really stood out in The Last Jedi. Which is polarizing, and I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
But when in that opening sequence with Poe Dameron, and when we see him, show off his expertise as an X-wing pilot, it's fantastic. It really, it was like because he moves that thing around like a hot rod, and it was pretty cool. So I was kind of like, if we could just take that and make a whole movie out of it, it could be pretty awesome. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember, games when I was younger. Those were always some of the most fun to play. And
X-Wing pilot, and then TIE Fighter. Yeah, I mean, it was just the core of the experience. And so, I mean, I think if we can kind of maybe circle around that a little bit, it could just be a fun movie. And I think, Sean, if that's the goal, fun and action and just a good time, Sean Levy might be the right guy. Yeah. It'd be kind of interesting. Cool. And then they announced some TV stuff. I mean, obviously TV's been, so TV's obviously been, television, streaming. Let me say,
I'm not big on...
Let me say content and streaming content.
Okay, got it.
Disney Plus has been, I mean, that's where Star Wars has really thrived, has been, in long form. I mean, to varying degrees of success.
And you got Mandalorian, you got Andor. You have Obi-Wan.
Second season going on right now.
Right.
Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, The Acolyte, which I didn't hate. There were some acting discrepancies. I didn't hate it, but I think there was some world building there that could have further explored, like Darth Plagueis. Anyway. And then all the animated shows. And the next one I'm going to talk about is an animated show coming out.
Okay.
And this was a huge surprise for everybody. And they brought out the voice actor of this character, which is Maul. Darth Maul. Darth Maul is getting an animated series. It's called Maul, Shadow Lord. Sam Witwer is he's the voice actor. He's been the voice actor for Darth Maul in all of the animated series. So
he wasn't the actor in.
He was not. That's Ray
Menace,
Park.
right?
He was not. He's not Ray Park, even though that wasn't Ray Park's voice in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
But Sam Witwer, well loved in the and just a really likable, nice guy. Always willing to interact with the fans. He's always at the conventions. He signs all the stuff. People run into him all the time. He's always taking pictures with people.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's really adopted the role and is sort of known. Anyway, it says it explores his activities as a crime lord and his relationship with a new apprentice. Well, for those who don't know, Darth Maul at the end of Phantom Menace, we see him kind of split.
He
went to
left?
Splitsville.
He left. Is that what you mean by split?
He did. He left in two directions.
Oh, got it.
We see him come apart,
chopped.
Which, of course, for a lot of people was a big drag when that movie came out. Because
mostly for him.
Well, for him. But everybody loved that character and was so excited. And then he's like, then you realize, oh, no, he's chopped in half.
Yeah. But as we know, when we fall down.
You fall down in anything in Star Wars, you're A-okay.
Yeah, you're probably fine.
That's why, everybody's waiting for Mace Windu to come back.
Yeah.
Because he had the biggest fall.
Yes,
so he's probably, he bounced off of a balloon or a bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah, something.
Yeah. Anyway, we're rambling.
Darth Maul, the character, the short version is the character didn't die, and he came back in the series The Clone Wars, and then also we saw him in the series Star Wars Rebels. This is going to be somewhere in the middle along the way.
Okay.
So this is just sort of like an unexplored story with Darth Maul. So they're bringing him back.
That's cool.
Another one is Star Wars Visions Volume 3. If you haven't seen Star Wars Visions, really, really cool show. It pulls in a lot of animation styles. It's grounded in anime. Yeah. But it's just sort of these ancillary stories or, kind of related to the Star Wars universe. It's really worth checking out. There's shorts, the episodes aren't very long and there's not a lot of them. Okay. But some characters that have appeared in that, the Ronin, is really well liked, which looks like something straight out of, he looks like a character out of Kurosawa. He's got the blade, but it's a lightsaber, but it still looks like the long katana. Yeah. And his he has an R2D2 who has a straw hat. Yeah. And Funko actually had made I
think I saw that one.
Yeah, I think it was a Target exclusive, but one of the big exclusives. So that's a big thing, toy exclusives. Sure. The Ronin was like highly sought after, which makes sense. A lot of Star Wars is based on, Japanese cinema. The movie The Hidden Fortress is heavily influenced Star Wars. And then there's another story, another series, a limited series coming out called The Ninth Jedi, which I don't know other than there's apparently 8 more before that.
I suppose so. Any idea when this takes place?
Nope. No, don't anything about it, but that was announced. And then the 2 more projects, Ahsoka Season 2, they're working on that. And somebody named Hayden Christensen was around at the convention. Obviously, he was in the first season of Ahsoka. Yep. As Anakin and Darth Vader. And we also saw him in Obi-Wan. What's cool about that, about his sort of journey is that, especially now that we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, it's in the theaters now. Get your fancy, expensive popcorn buckets.
Yeah, he did a little promo.
Did a little promo. I saw him in a little commercial, and he had like a little Darth Vader sipper and a big old plastic bucket.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a resurgence.
He has. A lot of that has been because of the convention circuit.
Yeah.
And a lot of the characters from the prequels have, now we're 20 years later from the last of the prequel movies.
So you have a whole generation that's come after these.
It is a whole generation, and having gone and seen the reception of these characters, and that includes Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar, and he was actually at Celebration. People love him, and I have to say it's pretty infectious to watch people. It's like that's when you realize that's their Star Wars.
Yeah.
My niece and nephew, I mean, they didn't grow up with me or with the previous generation. It's like their Star Wars when they were kids, when they were like 9, 10, 11 years old. This is what they saw was the prequels, and they love it. When you think about it, there's no like one right Star Wars, which is what makes it so impressive, because now we're in 2027, because at the end of this celebration in Japan, they announced when the next one is. It's going to be in Los Angeles, and it's because it's going to be the 50th anniversary of Star Wars coming out in the theaters.
Well, that should be a fun time. Do you think you're gonna make the?
Yeah, I'm hoping to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I will go. I'm planning on it, and I may even pony up for the Jedi VIP pass, which sells out in like 30 seconds. But it guarantees you seating at the different, because some of these you cannot even get into the arena to see the thing. And sometimes you're in the overflow, which is like you get really excited, you clap, and it's just a screen.
Yeah.
No, they're not there. They can't see you. But I have been at a few of them. And it was funny, like the one that I went to, I was like, oh, I got to get to the airport, and it was on a Sunday morning, but I'm like, I got time. I'm going to go check this out. And it was for Mandalorian.
Made a good decision.
Just to give you a sense of like, before that came out, it was on a Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And it was not in the main auditorium. It was in a little side one.
Yeah.
And Favreau was there, and Pedro Pascal, and
that's crazy.
It is now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But I'm hoping to go to that, and we'll see. But that was like the big to do over the weekend. A lot of announcements, a lot of stuff coming.